Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church on Zoom. We respectfully recognize that our church property rests on Ahajiman and Tongbalan. My name is Yulis Aiton and I'm your worship associate today. I'm joined by Beth Syverson, our Director of Music Ministries, in welcome you this morning. She will be joined by Amy Tompkins as vocalist and guitarist. Reverend Judy, our Director of Religious Education, already held classes for the children earlier this morning, and she will offer one for our youth after the service. Our minister, Reverend Sean Wilshire, is not in the pulpit this morning, but she has a special message for you.
Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Sean Wilshire, and I am so happy that you're here. But I am also really sad that I'm not there to meet you in person, at least not right now. There are two things that I would like you to know. First of all, we have planned a wonderful worship service for you. We work very hard, whether I'm in the pulpit or not, that you get something that is inspiring, that lifts you up, that gives you hope. And I hope that you find that here. The second thing I want you to know is that you are surrounded by some of the most wonderful people that you are ever going to meet. And okay, I'm a little bit biased, but truly they're wonderful people. So I invite you to reach out to them, as I know that they will also reach out to you. So enjoy the service, and I look forward to meeting you.
Our guest speaker today is Reverend Marie Sanchez. Reverend Marie Sanchez was born and raised in Long Beach. She moved to Washington State, where she was the Director of Religious Education for a UU church with over 100 children. She also was a hospital and hospice chaplain there for two large medical centers. She finished seminary at the UU Theological School in Midville, Lombard in Chicago. She has served three of our congregation here in Southern California, now as a minister for our sister congregation, the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Laguna Beach. I would like to invite you to open the chat box, and if you haven't already, say hello this morning. We'll be turning the chat off during the sermon portion of the service as not to distract, but we will turn it on right afterwards. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is simply a promise that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships, and we are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. After the service, we will be placing everyone who remains into Zoom breakout rooms for 20 minutes of coffee and conversation. Everyone is welcome to join in, and it's a great way to get to know people in the congregation. Our worship begins with the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist tradition. As we light it, we say our Unison affirmation. If you have a chalice or candle at home, we can light them together. Please join me as we begin. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, fellow travelers. This might be a new song for you, but it's a very easy chorus especially, so I invite you all to join with me as soon as you figure out how it goes. Though dark is the night and narrow the way, though the tempest may rage and chill to the bone, still the promise is bright, like a beacon light when you welcome the traveler home. Welcome the traveler home. As out in this wide world we wander alone, though our ways twist and bend, we know in the end we will welcome the traveler home. Though late is the hour and long is the road, and I stumble and stray from the path I have known, for this prodigal one no long journey's done when you welcome the traveler home. Welcome the traveler home. As out in this wide world we wander alone, though our ways twist and bend, we know in the end we will welcome the traveler home. The winds they may bellow, the seas they may rise, like ships from the deep far from shore. We look for the harbor, we look to the skies, for the wide open heart and the wide open door. Now 5 years and 20 have gathered again, a harvest so ripe from the seeds we have sown. 5 and 20 years more, still our spirits will soar as we welcome the traveler home. Welcome the traveler home. As out in this wide world we wander alone, though our ways twist and bend, we know in the end we will welcome the traveler home. We will welcome the traveler home.
First of all, I'd like to offer a great deal of gratitude to this congregation for welcoming this traveler home. This is the first church I attended when I came to Southern California 15 years ago to live with my mom, and I've appreciated you ever since. I especially want to thank Reverend Sean this morning for allowing me to be in her pulpit. It has been a wonderful experience so far this summer. I also want to thank Beth Syverson for her wonderful music and the way that she pulls us all together. This is an awesome team we have this morning. Jeff Ayton, Ulysses Ayton, Barbara Morhiro, Justin Brandon, and Ginny Chan, and also Amy Tompkin for her beautiful music as well. So it's just a wonderful homecoming for me every Sunday that I'm with you, and I appreciate you all so much. Our call to worship this morning is a prayer. Prayer had rarely been one of my spiritual practices, but when I began my training as a hospital and hospice chaplain, I have to admit I didn't even know how to pray. But I immediately found that when I was asked by my patients to pray with them, something stirred in my soul. It was not to whom or to what I prayed with, but with whom. It was a sacred act when I was engaged with another human being to pray for the good. I offer this prayer to you, written many, many years ago by one of the first women ministers that I had ever met. Her name, Reverend Frances Manley. She says, "What shall we pray this morning? We who are not sure we believe in prayer or what it means to pray. We who have seen new and fresh ideas come and go and come and go again and again, each one much like the last, until with the ancient preacher we sigh, is there nothing new under the sun? What shall we pray now then today in this moment? What yearnings, what longings are stirring in our hearts? We long for peace in a world torn with violence. We know that no prayer of ours or anyone else's will suddenly bring an end to war or violence everywhere, but our prayer can nurture peace that is born in our own hearts, that we may be bearers of peace here where we are, in our families, our workplaces, in this church. We long for a world full of love, not full of hatred or indifference. We know that no prayer will suddenly make every hardened heart overflow with love, but our prayer can nurture the love that grows deep in our hearts, that it may shine forth to illuminate our lives and the lives of those who are around us. We long for hope in a world where there seems little cause for hope. We know that no prayer can change the world, but our prayer can nurture the glimmerings of hope that are born anew deep inside us every day, this day, and the following day. And may it give us strength and courage to join with others to create the change for the hope that we hope for. Why not give it a try? Might the prayers and longings which stir in our hearts find fulfillment and expression in the living of our lives, though it may not be in any ways that we can even imagine now. May peace and love and hope grow within us and among us with a nod that we live lives lifted up in prayer. Welcome and welcome home.
Everybody's wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say once you're gone forever. Some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior if sinful ways you lack. Some say they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Everybody's wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. Think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say they're going to a place called glory. I ain't saying that ain't a fact, but I've heard I'm on the road to purgatory, and I don't like the sound of that. Now I believe in love, and I live my life accordingly. I choose to let the mystery be. Everybody's wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Think I'll just let the mystery be.
In the spirit of meditation, prayer, or reflection, each according to our own practices, let us settle into a time of quiet now together. If you like, close your eyes and relax in your chair and let it support you gently as you drop your shoulders. Yes, drop your shoulders and let them drop again. Then you'll feel the stiffness losing its grip on your arms, your wrists, your hands, and your fingers. Letting your jaw open will ease your whole face into being soft. Your eyes soft, your forehead, your eyebrows. Take a nice cleansing breath in and out, and then breathe your own natural beauty breath as your body comes to tenderly rest. Consider the words of Unitarian Universalist minister, the Reverend Judith Downing. She said, "Let's be attentive to the motion that is our lives, the moving through time and space, the going out and the coming back in, the letting go and the holding on. We reach out, yearning to be attached. We seek to be included, and then suddenly, as surely, we pull in to detach and withdraw into ourselves. We seek our own authority in the most moving process of our lives, and then we let it hold each other carefully. Let us be with one another fully with understanding, sharing our pain and our joy, crossing into each other's lives as fellow travelers, as unconditional companions in the ongoing motion that is life, the constructing and the reconstructing of the meaning that is the essence of our being. May the power that fires the motion itself, that which some call God, some call the natural world, still others simply call it love. Let love be with us, and let us remember that you are loved right here and right now, just the way you are."
The ceaseless flow of endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll be all past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past and dreamlike melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal flow, to make each day a thing complete shall be our New Year vow.
Unitarian Universalism has no creed and no statement of belief to which we must subscribe, no dogma or set of rules laid down by some authority on high who determines what is absolutely true for every one of us. We, the people of our Unitarian Universalist congregations, over a number of years and after thousands of discussions, have created this beautiful collection of principles which we have. Sometimes they are referred to as that which is commonly believed among us. Our principles are not commandments, but they are statements which make up an interconnected host of aspirations. Our third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth, is one of these aspirations. It certainly resonates well with our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person in our acceptance of one another and our spiritual growth, because this implies that there is movement. In other words, each one of us is on a unique spiritual journey. This is one definition that is a work in progress for me of the word spirituality. Spirituality is first the relationship people have with themselves, then with others, and finally that something larger than themselves. I met the Reverend Harold Rosen, who was an American Unitarian Universalist minister serving a congregation in Canada, when for 2 summers we worked as small group facilitators for the Parliament of World Religions in British Columbia. His group was mostly Sikhs, and my group was Risha Kosakai, a sect of Buddhists from Japan, which also has adherents in other countries. I loved getting to know the Risha Kosakai, as while Buddhism is often a contemplative, inner, and devotional religion, traditionally removed from the affairs of the world, their tradition is one which may be called engaged Buddhism. They were involved in providing food and housing, medical and pharmaceutical aid to refugees, drought and earthquake victims. They were also active in disarmament campaigns, agricultural development, and income-generating projects for poor citizens in the third world countries. Also literacy and job training. In other words, faith in action. So I was delighted when Reverend Harold Rosen's explanation of spirituality met my own, but it provided more. Reverend Rosen's definition is spirituality addresses our need for intimacy with the primal sources of our being and our quest for transformation. It gives rise to religion in the first place, but then religion moves in the direction of institutional continuity, while spirituality stays close to immediate, spontaneous awareness. When religion gets too far from its origin, when it loses relevance to our immediate and ultimate concerns, people start looking for spirituality again. But spirituality without a home, without a tradition, cannot be sustained for very long. And so, a healthy congregation must provide opportunities for spiritual growth, while also providing social solidarity with a clan that bridges the generations. Spirituality also has an interdependent relationship with ethics and social responsibility, faith in action. So spirituality is lived out in a variety of spiritual practices: prayer, meditation, reflection, rituals, and other things which may bring a person closer to their inner being. And biking, gardening, playing and singing music, so many other activities. And it is also expressed in our theological understandings as well, whether these be in Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, other faith traditions, or just as powerful and in just as meaningful ways through atheism, agnosticism, panentheism, pantheism, naturalism, and so on and so on. Additionally, our spirituality helps us to decide what to do. What is not found in our Unitarian Universalist principles is people who believe in X are idiots. Okay. Sometimes it might be more challenging than not to accept some of the ways that our friends and our members believe or practice. But this principle is an aspiration, which fits also with another principle, principle number 2, that we covenant to affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. In 2005, the Unitarian Universalist Association published a study of our congregations called Engaging Our Theological Diversity. In this district, the Pacific Southwestern District, the Reverend Dr. Tom Owen Toll and the Reverend Dr. Ken Brown created a workshop in which clusters of our congregations could explore together how it is that we hold this huge diversity. I'm guessing that some of you were among the more than 300 of us who participated. I found it to be one of the most enlightening and faith-affirming workshops I've ever attended. We were asked to self-identify theologically into these 6 groups: humanist, mystic, theist, nature-based or earth-centered, Christian, and other. Of course, being Unitarian Universalist, some of us asked right away why we couldn't add Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, etc. But it was explained to us that we would have too many, perhaps tiny groups, so other would have to suffice. They wanted a critical number of folks in each group to encourage a lively conversation among people. We were asked in our groups to further self-identify if we wanted to, perhaps refining or defining our theological orientation. Then, in whatever way it felt important to us to tell the others in our group what we wanted them to know about our theology or our spirituality. What surprised all of us who participated was just how much we had in common. But this wasn't necessarily our theological orientations, nor was it necessarily our spiritual practices, which were the same as the others. What we had most in common and how we were concerned was that others might disapprove of our orientations or our spiritual practices, and how much every one of us longed for being understood and being respected for who we were, what we thought, how we practiced. In my own congregation at the time, I was serving the Anaheim Unitarian Universalist congregation. I led us through the program again with the same results. Then I asked a few of our church participants to work with me to create a series of worship services in which people would share their faiths, such as the faith of a theist, the faith of an atheist, the faith of an agnostic, the faith of a biblical humanist, and the faith of a recovering whatever. Again, it surprised and comforted us, not so much by what we learned about our fellow members and friends' beliefs and practices, but again, how much we had in common, which was how much we longed for people to understand us, how much we longed to be loved and respected for who we were and where we were, right then on our unique spiritual journey. Our third principle, which affirms and promotes acceptance of one another and spiritual growth in our congregations, is a core value for us. This is more about us at first than you might think at first. But please consider this: in so many faiths, there is often one way, perhaps only one way, for you to experience your spiritual self. For us, Unitarian Universalists, diversity is an essential way of how and why we come together, because we need both the inner and the communal journey. Right now, we Unitarian Universalists are asking ourselves how to encourage and celebrate the many ways in which we might become even more diverse. In what ways do we want to draw our circle wide, and how we might draw it wider still? In embracing our theological diversity workshop, we were also provided with 3 important questions for our careful consideration. The first was, what features of Unitarian Universalism, if you took them away, if you took away some features, would leave us with something that is no longer Unitarian Universalism? The second one was, what features if you added them? What features if you added them would make Unitarian Universalists no longer you? And I'll add here, maybe more you. And the last one is, if you had never heard of Unitarian Universalism, how would you be different from the you that you are right now? I encourage people to continue these conversations later with mutual love and respect. You may learn something about someone that you might not ever have known, even if you've known them a long time, and you might want to explore more. At least there will be another thread in the web of our interconnectedness. My friend, Dennis McCarty, retired Unitarian Universalist minister who calls himself the gentle atheist, says this: each of us goes through life self-contained and alone, within the space of a soul from which we look out of the world, which no other may enter fully. Yet our soul space becomes healthier, happier, wiser, and more fulfilled when we loosen our hold enough to look at others, to listen to others, to share with others, to laugh, and to weep with others. It's all. Amen and blessed be.
Sounds great, Beth. Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. Last month, our plate share, we were able to raise $955 for Stand Up for Kids. Thank you for your support. For the month of August, we are supporting Community Action Partnership of Orange County. Since 1965, Community Action Partnership of Orange County has worked to enhance the quality of life in Orange County by eliminating and preventing the causes and effects of poverty. You can find out more information about their mission and how to get involved on their website. There are now 3 ways in which you can give. The first is through our website, www.ocuuc.org. The second, through an app called Give. You can download it on the App Store on your smartphone, and once set up, you can use it for any of your online giving, including your pledge. The third method is by texting 714-942-1131. Simply text to that number and in a message, type the amount. As always, thank you for your generosity as the offering is given and received. Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Let's sing our offering response. We gather together. We gather together, we gather as one. For peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
Ulysses, that is not the first time that's ever happened. I've missed entire parts of my script before, so join the club. You're doing a fabulous job. Now is the time when we honor the important events in our lives. You are invited, one and all, whether you are a member or a friend or a visitor, to participate in this weekly ritual of joys and sorrows. Perhaps you come here today holding something close in your heart. Moments from the last days or hours that have struck you at your core. If you'd like to honor such a profound joy or sorrow, you are invited to do so. You can do this by lighting a candle at home. It's a wonderful way to honor someone, something in your heart. If you would like to share your joy or sorrow with the congregation, you can write that in the chat. We'll spend a few moments in quiet contemplation as we hear some music that Beth will play, and then I will begin reading the joys and sorrows aloud. Please do forgive me if I miss a joy or sorrow, but you can help me not miss any by waiting to type your comments and expressing a joy or sorrow until we are all finished. We have a number of joys and sorrows which were emailed to us today, and I'll begin with this one. Amanda Horrock's father, Topper Horrock, died on Wednesday, August 5th, at age 75. He fought multiple myeloma cancer for over 10 years. Amanda thanks the Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church community for supporting one another. This is a joy from Simone Bentley. She would like her church community to know that her recent colonoscopy showed no serious problems. She and her family are doing well and hopes we are too. And she misses us all. From Linda Sperry, grateful for all the awesome outreach our Capitol campaign leaders have done over the last weeks and the generosity of everyone who has responded and pledged to our relaunch to bring us up to $91,000. It's pretty awesome. From Marcia Hackett, a joy. I had my first book of memoirs published last week. It's called A Full Life, Still Going Strong. You can find it on Amazon. And there is a chapter in why this church is so important in my life. And finally, from the emails from Charlene Gursky, we are lighting a candle of hope for our good friends, Chris and Elsa, who both have COVID-19. And from our chat, my goodness, we have lots of those today too. So let me begin with Sarah Hunter, who says, to all parents, love to all parents, family, and friends who love someone struggling with addiction and mental health. From Amy and Randy, my sister Wendy was in and out of the hospital this week. They're still trying to figure out what she needs. That was from Randy. From Francie Coleman, my cousin John, and he has a Polish last name, Ciskiewic, from Niagara Falls, died Thursday, 8/6, from a long illness, and we'll miss his smile and his jokes. From Emily Schindler, joy, the Schindlers are happy to return to church for a second week. We're really grateful for the wisdom and community. From Adam Goldman, I hope my friend Megan will find sobriety and health. From Barbara Schilling, my family has a new joy. Our 17th great-granddaughter, Collins Mackenzie. She was born on August 4th. From Amy and Randy, welcome back, Schindlers. From Jan's new laptop, grateful. Thank you, everyone, for keeping Joey, Beth, and myself in your thoughts and prayers. We can sure feel it. From Raphael Haller, My grandniece is 1 year old, but only speaks in the subjunctive so far. A Ralph Heller. From Kathy Lewis, grateful that my daughter Stacy is recovering nicely from shoulder surgery on Friday in Boston. From Scott, Scott is thankful for the great haircut Margaret gave me yesterday. Amy and Randy laugh a lot, Scott. And from Marilyn, friends, Joy, thank you for all your healing thoughts for my daughter. Her hip surgery on Monday was successful. Let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations, all the hurts and sadness, both spoken and silent. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. We're never alone. May each of us, in our own fashion, offer a little prayer for all those joys and sorrows, said and unsaid this morning.
Now, let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. This we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently, and yet when we gather together, virtually or otherwise, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you are a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community, if even just for today. We encourage you to write in the chat your name and where you are from. If you would like to know our church, please see our church website for ways you can get involved and sign up for our weekly email called The Blast at blast@ocuuc.org. If you would like to know more about membership, please contact us at membership@ocuuc.org. Our community is enriched by its visitors, guests, and friends, and we hope that they find a spiritual home here. We want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected. After the benediction, we will have a short period where everyone can wave and say hello. Then those that remain will be put into Zoom breakout groups for 20 minutes if you choose. We invite you to check in and get to know the people in your group and welcome any visitors. For the announcement, a reminder that today from 1 to 1:30 p.m. we'll be traveling virtually via Zoom to Gloria Dei Lutheran in Dana Point. Our new sanctuary architect, David Catel from Domus Studio, will take us on guided tour of Gloria Dei Sanctuary and will point out the features similar to those being proposed for our church, OCUC. The Zoom meeting ID is the same one that we use for our worship service. Then next Sunday, August 16th, from 11:45 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., soon right after our worship service, we will be having a town hall meeting to discuss today's Gloria Dei Lutheran Sanctuary tour. You can find more information on the church groups and events from the Blast as well.
Let's leave our service today with these words by John O'Donohue, Irish poet. May you listen to your longing to be true and free, and may you also know the shelter of home. May the circles of your belonging be large enough for the dreams of your soul. May you arise each day with a voice of blessing, whispering in your heart, something good is going to happen to you today. May you find a harmony between your soul and your life. May the house of your soul never become a haunted place. May you know the eternal longing that is at your heart, the time of kindness in your gaze, when you look within, when you behold others. Maybe you be free from the prisons of guilt, fear, disappointment, and despair. And may you never place walls between the light and yourself. May you always allow the family of life to gather you, mind you, and embrace you in belonging. Go in peace, return again in love, and let us sing our parting song.
Be safe, be well, you mean the world to me. Be safe, be well, you mean the world to me.
As a conversation prompt, please share with the group what is one thing you appreciated about this service at your breakout rooms. This service is over. Let our service continue.